Rational thought in my head screamed no. Who wanted me to go into those woods? No, absolutely not. But the kid looked so small, so vulnerable. If there was even a tiny chance they were telling the truth, that their house was just a little way in and they were genuinely lost, that their house was just a little way in and they were genuinely lost. I don't think that's a good idea, buddy, I said, trying to sound gentle.
It's dangerous in there at night.
Best thing is for you to hop in here with me. We'll drive until we get a signal, and then we'll call the police or the rangers. They can help find your home properly. The kid just stood there, that blank, unreadable face fixed on me, but it's right there. They insisted, their voice a little more insistent now. Just a little way. I can almost see it. If you're just a step out of the light from your door with me, my skin was crawling till we get a signal. Only wrong with the scenario, the way they were trying to coax me out. They can normal emotional response. The pajamas or the rangers. I looked closer at the kid, trying to pierce that strange vagueness around their features, that blank, unreadable stick on their features, that blank, unreadable face on me. My headlights were bright, but it was like they absorbed the light rather than reflected it. Their eyes insisted their other eyes. I want to see their eyes.
Just dark hollows.
I really think you should get in the truck, I said, my voice firmer now. It's warmer in here. We can figure it out together. The kid took another step closer. They were almost at my running board now. Please, they said. That reedy voice again. My leg hurts. I can't walk much further. If you could just help me a little, just to the path. My internal conflict was raging. My trucker instincts, honed by years of seeing weird stuff and hearing weirder stories at truck stops, were blaring warnings. But the human part, the part that saw a child in distress, was still there. Took another step closer. They were almost at my stand. They were almost at my running board now. Maybe this was all some bizarre misunderstanding. I squinted. That reedy voicey voice again. My squinted, trying to see past the kid towards the tree line they'd indicated. Was there a faint trail I was missing? A flicker of light deep in the woods? No, nothing. A flicker of light deep in the woods?
No.
Nothing.
Just blackness, solid, unyielding blackness. And then I saw it. It wasn't something I saw clearly at first. It was more like an anomaly. A disturbance in the darkness behind the kid. The kid was standing with their back mostly to the woods behind the kid. The kid was standing with their back mostly to the woods, facing my truck. Behind them, the darkness of the forest was absolute, or it should have been. But there was something connected to them. Something that stretched from the small of their back, from under the thin pajama top, and disappeared into the deeper shadows of the trees. At first I thought it was a trick of the light, a weird shadow cast by my headlights hitting them at an odd angle. Maybe a rope they were dragging? A piece of clothing snagged on a branch? I leaned forward, trying to get a clearer view. The kid was still talking, their voice a low, persistent murmur.
It's not far, please just help me, I'm so cold.
But I wasn't really listening to the words anymore. I was focused on that thing behind them. It wasn't a rope. It wasn't a shadow. It was a tube. A long, dark, thick tube. It seemed to emerge directly from the kid's lower back, impossibly seamlessly. It was dark matte like a strip of the night itself given form, and it snaked away from the child, maybe 10-15 feet, before disappearing into the inky blackness between two thick pine trunks. It wasn't rigid. It seemed to have a slight, almost imperceptible flexibility. It wasn't a breath hitched in my throat. It didn't reflect any light from my headlamps, and I absorbed it. My breath hitched in my throat. My blood, which had been cold before, now felt like it had frozen solid.
This wasn't just wrong. This was impossible. Unnatural. The kid was still trying to coax me. You gonna help me? It's just there.
You were so close. My voice, when I finally found it, was barely a whisper. I couldn't take my eyes off that appendage. Kid, what is that behind you? The kid flinched. Not a big movement, just a tiny, almost imperceptible tightening of their small frame. Their head, which had been tilted pleadingly straightened. The blankness on their face seemed to finally found it was barely a whisper. I couldn't take my eyes off. I couldn't turn to. Kid would whisper. Kid, what is that? Kid, what is that? Kid, what is that? The kid didn't turn to look. They didn't need to. Their gaze, those dark, unseen eyes, bored into me. It's nothing, they said. Their voice was still small, but it had a new edge to me. It's nothing, they said. The voice was still small, but it had a new edge to it. A hardness. You're seeing things. You're tired.
They were using my own earlier rationalization against me. No, I said, my voice gaining a tremor of conviction born of sheer terror. No, I'm not. I see it. It's right there. It's connected to you. The kid was silent for a long moment. The only sound was the thumping of my own heart, so loud I was sure they could hear it. The crickets had stopped. The wind seemed to die down. An unnatural stillness fell over the scene. Then the kid's face began to change. It wasn't a dramatic movie monster transformation. It was far more subtle and far more terrifying. The blankness didn't leave, but it sharpened. The pale skin seemed to tighten over the bones. The areas where the eyes were, those dark smudges seemed to deepen, to become more shadowed, more intense, and a flicker of something ancient and early alien passed across their features. It wasn't human anger.
It was something older, colder, and infinitely more patient, now strained to its limit. The air in my cab suddenly felt thick, heavy, hard to breathe. Just come out of the truck, the kid said, and the voice, oh god, the voice. It wasn't the small, reedy voice of a child anymore. It was deeper, resonant. It wasn't the small, reedy voice of a child anymore. It was deeper, resonant, with a strange grating undertone, like stones grinding together. It was coming from that small frame, but it was impossibly large.